Yeah, basically.
Anyway, man's going to get extra holidays.
Nico scored more points than both of us this week, so shush.
Really?
I own Mateta.
Okay, that's a good buy. I respect that purchase. James, the game week has not finished yet. Ready? Hello, everybody. Welcome to Planet FPL, the world where everything revolves around fantasy Premier League. My name's Suj.
And my name is James.
Before we start, James, why is there a charger? Why do you have a charger? Okay. I thought we'd leave it there till we start the pod because one of us would notice. It's not mine either. And it's nobody's. It looks like such an old charger. Welcome to another episode of Planet FPL. Game week 8 is not over. We still have the massive West Ham against the Bees of Brentford later tonight. But we're mostly through the game week. We'll review game week 8. We'll look at our points. This is a long time since we've done a main pod sitting in the same room together.
Well over a year, I think.
Do you think so?
Yeah, I think so.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you've got a treat. If you're listening on the audio, why don't you treat your eyes by heading over to YouTube and looking at the two of us sitting next to each other?
They normally just see our face, and now we're just a bit more in the distance.
Exactly. We're around a table, cup of coffee, Monday morning. So your boys and Liverpool conspired to give Arsenal probably the best Sunday they've had in a long time yesterday.
No, well, Arsenal won at Newcastle a couple of weeks ago on a Sunday, so I think that was probably better for them.
Yeah. Though yesterday wasn't a bad day for them. Let's be honest.
No. What's my chances of not winning the league? Let's see. So Salah, Salah, Isak and Wirtz have all scored the same amount of goals at Anfield as Harry Maguire this year. And Manchester City's second highest scorer is Maxim Esteve. What chance have I got of Arsenal not winning this league?
Those are two good stats. I watched the game against Fulham. You don't ever doubt that they're going to find a way to get over the line at the moment, and they are very, very good. We're going to be having a discussion, I'm sure, about the best triple up on Arsenal because it's still a little bit of a debate, and people are talking about Victor Gyökeres. How was your game week, James?
My game week has been okay. Considering it feels like around the community, I think many of us would have seen loads of teams on socials this week, and you're like, oh my God, there's so many teams have outscored me. There's so many bench boosts, and obviously a number of them knocking about with like Mukiele.
Mateta,
double. In terms of the actual bench boost, double Burnley defence.
Yep.
So actually to stay competitive this week was always going to be quite difficult. So I'm on 65 at the moment. But with 2 to go, so I presume that's all out on 67. Or
no chance, mate. What are you talking about?
Or Suj's favourite number, 69.
Jared Bowen. No, my favourite number is 67, Nico. No, I'm on 66 as it stands, so I didn't even make it there. Jared Bowen will outscore Jean-Philippe Mateta this evening.
So returns for me, Haaland captain, Semenyo's assist. Yes, it was just one assist, guys. Cody Gakpo goal from an extraordinary number of XG, but nowhere near the highest XG this weekend, as we'll probably come back onto. Bruno Fernandes, 8. So his assist was a big return out of that. Gabriel's 12. Blanks from Verbruggen, Porro. Virgil van Dijk, Defcon, 3-pointer. João Pedro, blank. So 65, 2 to play, which is Wan-Bissaka and Jared Bowen. Essentially, looks like it's probably going to be greyish arrow, but if one of them does really well tonight, then it'll probably be a green arrow, which will be a great result for me from this week, actually.
Copy paste for me, I think. I'm in exactly the same boat as you, where I've scored 66, only 1 point up as it stands right now, with 2 to go. So Jared Bowen and Diouf to your Wan-Bissaka. The difference between us this week was your Cody Gakpo to my Dubravka. I started Dubravka in goal over Sells, and based on the Nottingham Forest performance, like Sells is a problem that I need to get rid of. Though Dubravka has Leeds this week, right? So I can.
He's just played Leeds.
Oh, sorry.
Wolves away.
Wolves away. He's got a good fixture this week as well, so I can kick that forward another week should I want to. Between us this week was always like 4 players. So it was Wan-Bissaka to Diouf, it was Gakpo to Reinders, it was João Pedro to Gyökeres, and what was the one other between us? Who was the other difference we have, James?
That's it. Just the three guys at the back, I think.
Dubravka to Verbruggen.
And
it's worked out to nothing so far, really. Happy with the decision that I made to play Dubravka over Sells. Obviously, that's worked out massively in my favour. Outside of that, Erling Haaland, you've mentioned Semenyo. I just the same return as you.
I'm not happy that you left Alderete last on the bench.
Well, we debated on a podcast last Monday about Pedro Porro or Romero versus a Sunderland defender on DEFCON, because right backs against Aston Villa had like 5 DEFCONs this season so far. I think Pedro Porro had like 4 DEFCONs in the whole game. I'd like to say 3 DEFCONs in the whole game after we recorded a podcast about how right backs against Aston Villa have all been getting DEFCON so far this season. So I played Porro over him.
No, I'd have played him over Diouf.
You don't know though.
No, I'm just saying I would have.
You don't know though. I think West Ham are going to keep a clean sheet today.
Oh, yeah.
So
the delusions of what? Suj?
Listen, I predicted a West Ham 3-0 victory. So with Diouf and Bowen to go, I'm going to win FPL.
So you and I both own different West Ham defenders. Yeah, no one's calling us experts. Listen, we both own a West Ham defender. There's no chance of getting a clean sheet tonight, mate.
Yeah, look, and Alderete was flagged. Like ultimately, he's outscored Porro. We'll talk about Tottenham just for your misery. And Virgil van Dijk did pick up a DEFCON. It's fine. Like he's a 4 million defender. At the end of the day, it is what it is. I'm not going to lose sleep over Alderete being third on my subs bench. Let's see what Diouf does this evening. But I think the effective ownership on the two of them is both in and around 10 or less than 10%. So even 4 points from the two of them will give me a green arrow, but green being like, I'm 2 points behind safety right now, according to Live FPL. So you're talking literally nothing, right? Even if I get 4 points off them, I'll be great. I'll be there or thereabouts. No chip played, rolled a transfer. I'll take that. It gives me 2 free transfers going into this week.
Yeah, I rolled as well. What's on your mind?
Goalkeeper obviously sells, though I can kick that forward. I'm not keen on keeping...
Are you still wildcard 13? Is that your plan?
Yeah, as it stands right now. I did put together a draft on a wild card, and I would actually get rid of Diouf. I would get rid of Porro. I would get rid of Van Dijk. I looked at Munoz potentially coming in and Timber coming in. In terms of keeper, I'd probably go Pope. Probably just go Pope to cover off a little bit, or Sanchez, because I've got no Chelsea defensive coverage. So the defenders on my mind are Chalobah, Timber, Munoz. Goalkeepers on my mind, Pope or Sanchez. Reinders is a bit of a pain, but I'm not overly losing sleep over that. That would be Ismail Assar if I was going anywhere. Again, Gyökeres and Bowen. Bowen I can't really judge. He's been fine. Gyökeres, I know people are getting itchy feet. I'm getting no itchy feet whatsoever because of the 2 fixtures that follow afterwards are going to be decent to follow after Crystal Palace at home. And the Palace game is at the Emirates. And this is a Palace side that have conceded 3 goals in their last 2 league games. So this defensive solidity of Palace, well, they haven't
2
been.
at Everton, 5.
Was it 2 at Everton?
Yeah.
I thought they lost 3 in the end, but 2. Okay, so 5 in the last 2. I'm not too worried. Any game at the Emirates, I'm happy to play Gyökeres. So yeah, those are my thoughts at the moment. I don't think I'm overly looking to force anything, but it's more defensive, really.
Yeah, but I don't really want to be making my transfers defensively as I'm approaching a wild card. I want to attack stuff
exactly that. I'm in the same
aggressively.
mindset. I'm like, if I can just hide it on the bench for 2 or 3 weeks and rather use the transfers in an aggressive manner. The 2 strikers, we've talked about Mateta and Voltemade feel like flavour of the week almost. Would I sell Gyökeres and Bowen for Voltemade and Mateta?
No, I wouldn't buy Mateta this week.
Really? No, exactly that. So I can hold fire on these kind of moves and figure it out.
That's not to say that owners should sell.
Absolutely
definitely not. No.
But with Arsenal away, you can wait a week for that. So, yeah, those are my current thoughts really at the moment. I will likely use my 2 free transfers. As we get closer to wildcard, it's like time to make some moves and use them. But let's see.
Yeah, there's loads of things I could do here. It's only Chelsea Arsenal players. That's literally the only considerations for me. And then Palace back in the conversation for 10.
Yeah.
So it's Perry to Sanchez, Porro down to Chalobah or up to Timber, Calafiori, Saliba, whatever my fancy, Van Dijk, sideways, one of them. I think awkwardly, the Arsenal player I want to get the most is probably Saka. But you have no real will to want to fight to move on Bruno Fernandes. I think that probably the biggest one for me from midweek will be if Gakpo starts in Frankfurt, I'm pretty happy to cut him, I think. Because I'd then go into the weekend thinking, not sure he starts 3 games in a week. I'll sell. It's an away game. And that'll open up the game for me. I think if I move Gakpo on, then it's the same what I was really considering last week is Enzo Fernandez. The 3 transfers I was really considering was buying Chalobah, Enzo Fernandez, who obviously was a no-show, or Eze. Eze, I think, is now off the table for me on what I watched on Saturday, which we'll speak about in a bit, I'm sure. So the defensive players are added back onto that from Arsenal, Chelsea this week. Saka, Enzo Fernandez. Don't see me doing a lot else unless there's an injury. I'm almost I wouldn't even mind at this point if like one of the forwards got injured and I went, right, do you know what? Krupi Jr. is going in here. We just rejig this for a bit. The sound on Evan Nilsson is that he probably won't be available this coming weekend. So I could use Krupi Jr. at home to Forest this week and then hide it if I'm uncomfortable for the last 3 weeks. And that would enable me to like thump in Saka for like a Dewsbury Hall potentially.
Oh, that's a monster jump up.
Yeah, but I don't want to sell. João Pedro is a certain starter against Sunderland.
Yeah.
I don't want to sell Jared Bowen, and selling the robot is mad difficult. As it stands, there's probably not a doubt in my mind now that Ange has got sacked that I'll probably be captain Haaland again this week. Sorry, boring, I know, but I didn't see enough from Villa yesterday to make me think that he can't hurt him.
This game is getting boring. We were in the same boat. Kind of similar. It was getting to that way with Salah this time last year, where anybody that was on Haaland had made the move or was like figuring out that now is the time to make the move. And we were on Captain Salah for the next 20 weeks. But then the last 10 weeks of the season, if you went away from him, you did okay. So it's all good. I did see Oscar Focal did put a thing out because I don't really know where you'd go to find the historical numbers on players, but this season after 8 game weeks, it's
best, is it?
Best.
Yeah.
Yeah, 83 points.
3 or 4 seasons? How many are we now?
4. This is his 4th season. And he had a 50-something, 60-something, 70-something. This season, he's 80-something. But I had a look, James. Let's pull him up here, full profile. Of his 83 points, James, I think 20 points are bonus points. Rubbish. But it's all bonus points. 25% of the man's points are bonus points. It's not even goals and assists. Do you know how many games this season...
Of course he's going to eat the bonus. Nobody else bloody scores for them.
Do you know how many games this season he has failed to get bonus? Any bonus.
Any bonus?
Yeah.
Definitely against Tottenham, game 2.
Yeah, that's it.
Was that it?
How many games this season has he failed outside of that to get top bonus?
You said he's got 20, didn't you?
So, you can do the maths. James used to be a bookie. You know.
So 2?
1.
1.
Brentford.
Wow.
Other than that, 6 out of 8 games, he's got top bonus.
It doesn't work out. 6 threes are 18 plus 1.
6.
Oh, did he get a 2-pointer on the other one?
Yeah, it was a 2. He didn't get top bonus. Insane. Yeah, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, and 2.
Yeah, I mean, this is probably unsustainable with him.
We said that with Mo Salah last season. Just saying, we said that with Mo Salah last season.
Well, he didn't sustain the whole season, did it?
No, but he did for 30 weeks. So whilst the sun is shining, my friends, make hay. And hay right now is Erling Haaland as captain.
Yeah, I think I would have really considered Semenyo this week. But now we're not quite sure what it's going to be at for Forest at the weekend. It does sound like Sean Dyche probably close, is the overnight news from David Ornstein. The only other consideration really from what I've got captaincy this week, and a lot of people want to sell him, is João Pedro. I don't think that's better than Haaland. And I don't think your captain Yoker is over Haaland this week, mate.
Yeah, no chance.
People
no chance. As bad as I say Palace are.
There'll be people listening to this attacking -4s to remove those 2 players this week, you know that? Because they're just so sick of them.
Coquerez and Pedro.
Personally, I'll not be doing that. Like, João Pedro's going nowhere for me this week.
Yeah, I mean...
It's a definite starter.
We can talk about these guys when we talk about
Remember, he's suspended in midweek.
Yes, Champions League. He obviously got a red card in the previous game, so he is not available. He'll play 90 minutes. But we'll talk about the games. We'll just get into them and we can talk about tactically what the impact is and what we think will happen. Should we get into them?
Yes, let's do it.
Well, Forest 0, Chelsea 3. It doesn't tell the story of the game because Forest did have good chances in the first half. But I think it does tell the story of Ange Postecoglu in recent times, doesn't it? Where he creates chances but finds and conspires a way to lose games other than in the Europa League where he managed to get over the line without creating a lot of chances, actually, to be honest with you, with a different style.
It wasn't Ange.
4 big chances for Forest, 2.35 XG. They're out XG'd Chelsea. They played well in the first half and then just conspired to lose so sloppily when 2 goals go in pretty quick.
Yeah.
And then it's like a house of cards, doesn't it? That it just collapses.
The irony on this is that Forest actually played all right, but the outcome of losing 3-0 was a bad outcome. For the first half hour, I thought it was great. They pressed really high. They were really aggressive in a man-to-man. And they changed system. So it was more just like the system against Newcastle, but was more aggressive, less sitting behind it and more aggressive off the ball. And Chelsea, part through sloppiness and part from some good pressing from Forest. Like Forest had some really good openings. It should have been ahead after half hour. Then João Pedro started getting involved and linking a bit better towards the end of the first half. And I knew at half time that Maresca was not going to come out with the same team. And I remembered the game at White Hart Lane last year where we were 2 up, lost a couple of players, 2-1 at half time, and he made tactical changes and knew he was going to do the same against Ange again. And then Chelsea obviously got themselves into a 2-goal lead. From there, Forest actually had more good chances, although I'd certainly recognised there was a game state element, I think, to Forest chances towards much of the end of the game. But the Nico Williams miss and then Marinakis leaving, and I think most of us were watching the end of the game going, yep, I know what's happening.
That empty seat was haunting, the way they showed that on the TV of Marinakis' empty seat. It was haunting. It was inevitable. Like, no one's looking at Nottingham Forest assets from a FPL point of view at the moment. If you've got a Matt Sells, you want to move it on. Elliot Anderson is cheap enough to hide.
Yeah, that doesn't need been an incident. And also,
he did pick up a DEFCON.
Like, you're not buying Forest assets, but if you are still somehow sitting there on a Murillo or a Milenkovic, subject to what walks in the door, he might be useful for you, particularly say like Gameweek 11 at home to Leeds. I know a few people might be looking at bench boosts that week and that sort of thing. But yeah, there's no way you'd go and invest in anything new because you wouldn't fancy him to get anything at Bournemouth. You wouldn't fancy him to get anything against Manchester United. Then it's the Leeds game is really important. Then they go to Liverpool. So rough fixtures. As I said, it sounds like it's going to be Sean Dyche. So it's like full circle, isn't it? Like they wanted Nuno to change style.
Yeah.
He was trying to do it. They fell out. They appointed Ange, which is hyper, like, away from Ange's style. You realise with Ange that it's not working. So you change and you go back to a blueprint of something that's more like Nuno ball anyway. Like, Forest fans have to understand why people on the outside are going to be critical of it.
Yeah. I did obviously listen to COTC last week with Mark Southerns, and you'll be, I guess, having him back on for a fan view when they appoint a new manager.
No, I said to Mark last week, what's going to stop me having you back on this podcast in a month? And I just think, I don't think it's surprising.
No, it's not. It's not. They're not with the way Marinakis is.
I feel sorry for Ange. Like, I wanted it to work out for him. But just over this little period, I see so many things that were difficult for me to see through a fan view lens last year, right? These things like, I mean, Reece James's goal, like the way they set up on set pieces and stuff, like it's so bad. Even on the Champions goal, like, okay, I realise it's not originally from a corner, but he ends up in a 6-yard box with a free header, and you would associate that as some of their strengths. Although Forest fans will point out set pieces have actually been a problem for quite a while. Yeah, and he didn't help himself. Like on Friday, he does his press conference. His mood looked like it had picked up, probably because his team hadn't lost for over 4 days. But he's talking about his own achievements rather than what he's going to do to like make Forest better. He's talking like about himself.
Yeah, it's defensive.
The massive thing, and me and Ricky were in agreement with this before the Europa League final last year. There was no way another Premier League club would appoint him. Only Forest could have been the only club that would go and do that.
Let's talk about Chelsea a little bit then, because a lot of good assets there. I would say one thing with Chelsea that for all of their transfer dealings and money spent, 3 of the back 4 in Chalobah, Achampong, excuse my pronunciation, Josh, and Reece James, academy prospects.
I saw the Chelsea team, so I was still doing my deadline stream when the teams dropped. I saw the Chelsea team, and I was like, oh, Forest have got a real chance today.
Because of that backline?
Well, biggest one.
Lavia's decent.
Biggest one, obviously, no Caicedo, no Fernandes, right?
Yeah, but Lavia's not
on the same COTC last week.
Your team,
Gary said some people question with Enzo, like, what do you see about him? And he said, you'll see when he's not playing. Yeah, like it was ordinary without the two of them. Now, Caicedo comes on and makes obviously a big difference. And I think very importantly, João Pedro was better in the 10 position. And he started to drop into those holes towards the end of the first half and have some success with it. Chelsea were much better as well, not just Caicedo, but Mark Goob coming on.
Gooey. Good old Gooey.
Obviously, I presume he will play against Benfica this midweek. Whether he'd then start again against Sunderland is questionable, and that might be dependent on what Enzo Fernandez's fitness is. I think probably the feeling on Fernandes is that if it had been like a cup final or something, they probably would have taken the risk and he probably would have played. So, but I very much felt going into the game week, it was in a situation with him that people probably couldn't buy. I know a few did. I did think that he would play, but for someone who wanted him, I had to sit and wait, and it's going to be the same this week. So if he plays against Benfica, great, he's on agenda. If he doesn't, if Maresca doesn't give clarity again on Friday, then it's not going to be him. So good reasons, old transfers late on. Because if he plays against Benfica on Tuesday, I'm very interested in having him for this weekend, despite the fact, obviously, Sunderland are doing pretty well at the moment. A Champion, James, Chalobah, Sanchez, Enzo Fernandez are all short-term options for me, potentially.
James is the one I really like, because he has the biggest upside, I think, over a Chalobah or something like that. And with the wild card in 13, if and when he breaks down with an injury, which is inevitable, you can ditch it.
18-pointer.
Yeah.
Very good.
He's capable. When he's on it, he's on it.
He had one moment, and I loved it. It was one of my favourite moments of the weekend, where Esteval ended up having a shot that was kind of deflected into the near side netting, and he did like this almost like shot block tackle. He was taking everything. You could hear the thud as he went through it. He's become a real leader. He was really good in his interview after the game. Speaks really well. It's nice to see him fit as a neutral. Most of us don't he'd be available for England next summer.
Yep.
But I don't think it would be him. The problem, I think...
When you say you don't think it would be him for England next summer or for FPL?
Next week, a little bit like... No, for FPL. Like with João Pedro, presumably he definitely starts next weekend because Malo Gusto's late red card means that he's suspended. But it doesn't really, does it? Particularly if James plays against Benfica. It's not like we couldn't get a setup like we saw, say, at Brentford, where it's like Fofana, Chalobah, Adarabioyo or Champion. Like, we could get that again. So, I'm well aware that whatever I bought for Chelsea, bearing in mind it would be a short-term decision defensively, I might not get the games out of it that I want. And a Champion's actually muddied this because he's done quite well. Yep. He's actually got 25 points, I think, in 3 stars. And he's 3.9. Like,
is he 3.9?
Yeah, like if you knew he was going to play.
Wow, I just assumed it'd be 4-5.
But that's why I said he's a consideration for me, right? So say like I went concert to a Champion. Suddenly I've got enough money in the bank to go Fernandes to Saka if I wanted to, for example. Yeah. And I've potentially made my team better this week. I'm not making it any weaker because there's no chance I play concert this week anyway. So he's not under consideration for me. I think Adarabioyo or Fofana I wouldn't go and buy at the moment. I think Chalobah would be the most likely for me. But the information from their game against Benfica is really important. Chelsea weren't great here.
No.
It doesn't matter. It's a really good result. From a Forest perspective, everything that we've learned in the bin, other than confidence, I think is on the floor, is worth saying. So I wouldn't be looking at them thinking, oh, you're about to get a managerial bounce. I don't.
No. Okie dokie. Let's talk about Brighton 2, Newcastle 1. I suppose I was happy to see the Newcastle clean sheet wiped out because I don't own any defensive. And if I had made a transfer, it might have been...
we were talking about Pope, and that's just not worth doing this week, mate.
No, it would have been possibly Pope. So I was quite happy to see that happen. Newcastle disappointing, right? They do this sometimes. The Brighton, I don't trust them either because they'll win, and then who are they playing next week? Manchester United away. They'll probably lose.
So
lose at least.
It's the same every week. So they've beaten Newcastle, Man City, Chelsea. That's their 3 wins this season. All Champions League teams. The other team that played in the Champions League is Tottenham. Didn't lose that one either. They haven't won any games against teams not in the Champions League so far this season in the Premier League. They do have a good run of fixtures coming up though, Brighton. Obviously United is a very much a challenging game this weekend. They've got a really good recent historical record at Old Trafford. They've had a few wins up there.
No Mitoma again. Minte, really, I think Minte is the standout right here.
So Minte went back to the right, but he's not returned at the weekend. No. Danny Welbeck can be quite streaky. I wouldn't be going there personally, but there's nothing there that I particularly like for Brighton in terms of investment in this week. Might be another conversation for game week 10, but am I put off by the fact the fixtures get better? I don't see me picking a Brighton player in 10 rather than a Palace player. I don't.
Yeah, me neither.
Another DEFCON for Van Heck is worth noting. Vifa at right back, another DEFCON. Van Heck is kind of like under the radar doing okay now. I think it's 4.4 now, Van Heck.
Has he dropped?
I think he's probably had DEFCONs half the games. Like, it's not a consistent one, but he's picked up a few of them now. He's getting more than Dunk, put it that way. But yeah, Minte, I think you're right, is the only one I'd really be looking at offensively. Newcastle's away form is a concern. So it's 1 goal scored in the 4 away games.
I was going to say they were grinding out 0-0 draws, which was kind of the fact that they weren't losing and were keeping clean sheets was hiding the fact that they weren't really...
Bits of mitigating in the real kind of overthrow of the system to be more defensive, both at Leeds, where I think there was a concern about some recovery after the Liverpool game, and then obviously the Bournemouth game, recovery after the Barcelona game. So we can't rule out seeing a back three again on occasion. But reality is, he scored 1 goal in 4 away games, and that goal was a ridiculous goal. Because Voltemade seems to be scoring all types of beautiful goals at the moment.
The flick.
He even made his penalty look brilliant against Forest, didn't he? Like,
yeah. Sometimes people do that, and you question: do they mean it? Do they not mean it? It just happens to come off. I mean, he clearly meant this. Yeah, panache style. It was good. It was good.
That's the Newcastle attacking player to buy.
Correct.
At the moment, I think, rather than Anthony Gordon.
7.4 million. Did he start at 7? He had 4 price rises already.
I would say probably yes.
Wow.
I can't believe he's had a price drop, Suj.
Yeah, 4 price rises every week. He had 2 in the previous week and 1 already this week. Yeah, no surprise there.
The rest of the Newcastle attacking assets are no. I think I wouldn't be chasing Anthony Gordon this week, personally. Fixtures are good though. Fulham, West Ham, Brentford, and then there's a really good run after City. Yeah, their fixtures. The thing with Newcastle as well, their toughest games are at home.
Yeah, so you've got Chelsea at home, City at home.
There is a bit of concern about the away form at the moment, and it actually dates back in some stuff into last season as well. Dan Burn did get a DEFCON at the weekend, despite playing left back, so it does still feel like the one. But Lewis Hall's injury is not long term. I personally would be pretty much leaving it. I think the only Newcastle consideration for me at the moment would be like
Voltemade
or a Pope consideration. But I think for me, if I lost Bowen or João Pedro, say Bowen got injured tonight,
Mateta.
If it was 10, it would be Mateta. If it's this week, I'll probably do what I said, go Krupi, and then smash the money up elsewhere.
Yeah, I can get that strategy as well. Yeah. Let's talk about Burnley 2, Leeds 0. A lot of people did gamble on playing 1 or 2 Burnley defensive assets or bench boosted with Burnley defensive assets. And I've seen plenty of people say that was very lucky. I mean, if you look at the XG from the game, I mean, Leeds had 4 big chances, 2.63, nearly 20 shots.
Yeah, the 20 shots to 4 is quite a stat.
Yeah, it's a lot. So, yes, but also, what did Burnley do last season in the Championship? Kept shitloads of clean sheets, counteracted to the XG that they conceded within that season as well. So all they've done is really what they did last season, which was keep a clean sheet against the odds.
Very importantly for Burnley, they had 2 massive games that they really need to get points in this season. Sunderland at home and Leeds at home, and they've won them both 2-0. Job done. Considering the other fixtures that they've had, for them to be sitting 17th at the time of recording is really good. Because the rest of the fixtures they've had have been awful.
Yep.
Only Forest at home is the only other one they've had. I think the only other one they've had from a team not in the Champions League, I think. Or Manchester United away. Well, let's say a contender.
Villa,
anyway.
City, Liverpool, United, Tottenham. Yeah. Every other game
it's been rough.
Been horrible.
It's been rough.
And Tottenham away, United away, Liverpool was at home, City was away, Villa was away. Yeah, it's
and
been
I
rough.
lost a couple of them very late on, right? United and Liverpool had last-minute injury time concessions to a penalty, right? Is why they've lost those games. So actually, for Burnley, it was a lot of eggs, I think, into those 2 home games. Have kept clean sheets in both. That gives them the platform to potentially win the games. They scored 2 stunning goals, very different. Cole Walker's cross for Leslie Guchiku's goal was phenomenal. And Chuana's goal is I'm going to lever that.
Yep.
But pressure on the ball from Leeds looks, every time I watch that goal back, the pressure on the ball from Leeds looks really, really worrying to me. But their problem, Leeds, is scoring goals. I'm sorry, it's the same thing every week, but it does feel like that. And my heart sank from a little bit when I saw that Okafor hadn't made it and Jack Harrison was playing, because at least when they've got like Okafors or James or Nonso, they at least have some good ball carriers in wide areas. And you can have like a 1v1 threat. Without that, pretty impotent.
Still doesn't... I was trying to figure out if I could keep Dubravka and just hide cells or just really drop down to even like getting a Kinski or something. We'll talk about Vicario in a bit. But every other game...
Vicario's not coming out the Tottenham team.
I know. Every other game is still tricky. So yeah, Wolves I can play Dubravka, but then it's Arsenal at home. Then they got West Ham, it's great, fine. Then they got Chelsea. Then they've got a couple of good games, and it's Palace, Newcastle, difficult games. So it never has a consistent run of good or green, you would say. It's a bit of good, bit of bad, bit of good, bit of bad. They've got to just keep chipping away for now, Burnley.
Yes, I think they changed system again a bit at the weekend. I did think if they changed it, there would maybe be multiple players that changed. Larson is the one that really allows the movement from a back 4 shape with the ball to a back 5 shape without it. It was interesting that Guchikuwu played in front of Florentino and Cullen on the DEFCON Suj. Florentino massive again.
Yep.
Cullen not. So I think now you've got your answer, where we'd said these 2 players, one of them might really be a consideration as competitive, kind of in the bracket with, say, Granit Xhaka, for example. Florentino, I think, is going to be your guy.
16 DEFCONs, yeah.
Yeah, that's impressive. So he's your guy in terms of DEFCONs. I'd shout out for Twanzebe now, who stayed in the team. It's another one who's 3.9 at the moment. So these 4.0s were doing well. Alderetti's creeped up to 4.1. Mukele's going to go up to 4.1. Their fixture's getting tougher. We might have the likes of a champion, Twanzebe, sitting there at 3.9. I think Twanzebe will stay in the team now, which is intriguing. So if you wanted one of them going forward, or if you're on wildcard now, I wouldn't mind him going in as like the 15th player, actually. Ekdal was back on the bench. I think Twanzebe will stay in. He'd been injured quite a bit at the start of the season. I don't think Scott Parker will change that, at least until it goes wrong. So Twanzebe and Florentino are consideration. Jaden Anthony blank, a bit disappointing for those who'd gone now. And Lyle Foster owners, the good news for you is you've got an escape. Because a couple have just shown up, right? And I wonder if this also appeals to Calvert-Lewin owners who have just put him in, and a number of you have on wildcard, and now going, shit, Krupi and Mark Gu suddenly with great fixtures maybe at the weekend.
Look interesting.
Do you know what? If you've made your DCL bed, lie in it. But Foster might be one you go, okay. I'll because you probably weren't playing him that often anyway. So let's wait and see what the Evan Nilsson news is. Because if Evan Nilsson was out for a while, then Krupa Jr. is, I dare not say it, but almost like a game breaker, really. Yeah. Whereas Gu, would be in and out the team. This fella would go in and play. His
goal scoring records.
Yeah, we covered it in pre-season.
Europe, because previously where he was...
Well, in the second half of last season at Lorient, he got like 13 goals in 14 the end of last season or something. He's actually only got one less point than Evan Nilsson now this season.
Wow.
Remarkably. Is that your segue, is it? I think Bijou might come in the team for Leeds now, by the way, and I do think I'm probably a a mad owner, but I do think Perry will be back in goal Friday night as well.
Okay. Friday night against West Ham. I thought this game, we talked about it on the differential as the battle of the pretenders or the next best not in Europe teams that are really delivering so far. And they did deliver. We'd said that this might be the game to watch of the 3 o'clocks on Saturday. Like the XG racked up of nearly 6.5 between the two of them. 10 big chances. 28 shots between them. Monster game.
Yeah, great game. And
that's the Premier League, isn't it? This is like this is the Premier League.
I think
this is what they love about it.
Bournemouth games either tend to be brilliant or awful from a neutral perspective in terms of the enjoyment. Even the Fulham game, they won 3-1. It wasn't an enjoyable game. Newcastle, I sat through, was boring as hell. But think of the game at Liverpool, game 1 as well, right? If they become a bit yo-yo-y, Bournemouth will take it to an opponent. And it sounds like they started this game really well. You mentioned the XG stats there, Suj. I mean, they're not worth nothing for what they are on the paper because it's Mateta's stat, right?
Highest XG since XG was being recorded.
As a rule of thumb, and this is just a very logical way to think about this, as a rule of thumb, any player who scores a hat-trick will outperform their XG.
Yep.
Always. Unless you are Jean-Philippe.
Unless it's a hat-trick of penalties.
Unless you are... You probably still will.
Just, maybe. If you still have a couple big chances, 3 penalties and a couple of big chances.
Yeah, but you're going to need that. Okay. Yeah. In any case.
It's very unlikely.
Mateta underperformed at the weekend. Actually, if you are an owner and with your 17 points, you've actually arguably been a little unlucky.
He should have scored at the end there.
How many big chances did he have, Suj? Was it 6?
Big chances missed was 3.
He scored 3. I think he had 11 shots in total, 9 in the box.
Come on, Sofa scored
8 in the second half. I think I've remembered it all.
Yeah, it says big chances missed 3. It doesn't say how many he converted. It says 3 goals.
3, yeah.
So 6 big chances of the 7 that Palace had.
His XG on Saturday, I think he's more than Salah's season, mate.
3.67 in one game. Monster. He's a great pickup in FPL. It's just that the fixture this week is.
There's no way in the world that I would, I'm frustrated with João Pedro, like moving to Mateta this week. This is counterproductive. In game week 10, if João Pedro has a quiet week this week, then yes, that's maybe a debate for me in 10. And it's that sort of move that I wouldn't do now that I might do next week is another reason I'm looking going, I don't know if I necessarily want to use all my transfers this week. And Palace come right on radar for me in 10.
He had only scored 2 goals prior to...
But he had most big chances in the league missed prior
his XG,
as well.
We talked about who's the most underperforming XG of the season so far. Prior to this game week was Jean-Philippe Mateta. And he's actually made the situation probably worse. His XG for the season now is 7.8.
Yeah,
there's going to be teams that don't have 7.8.
They as well... I see Ross tweeted at FPL Raptor. They're, for non-penalty XG, highest in the league now this season. Every team.
Wow. Does that make you tempted with the double up, James?
Now, what Ross also said is that the XGC is not great at the moment. But I'd also factor in and say that they've had some tough fixtures in there, right? They've been to Chelsea. They've been to Liverpool. Not Liverpool. Aston Villa. You would have deemed that at the time a really tough fixture. They've played Liverpool at home. They've played Bournemouth at home. They've had some tough fixtures as well.
Yep.
Everton away. Bournemouth, you have to classify as a good team now.
Definitely.
So they've had some difficult fixtures. So, again, I'm not buying a Crystal Palace player this week, but the majority of that team is under consideration for me in game week 10. The 2 standouts for me defensively at this moment would be your boy who you're looking at is Munoz.
Because I like the upside of...
Or Richards.
I like the upside of the attacking returns with him
At the moment, I'd go the top end of it because of that. Yeah, it's a short term, although may end up staying in the team kind of permanently moving on because I think I'll probably want him on wildcard when I do it anyway. And Richards, the other end of that, as the cheapest one. And it was those 2 that hit DEFCON at the weekend. that's going to continue from what we've seen in terms of Crystal Palace players' defcons and patterns. They are going to change quite a bit. So Richards and Munoz this week could easily be like Mitchell and Gay or Lacroix next week. Like it is like that at the moment.
Yep.
So whatever your poison is, pick it, crack on. But where I pick in one at the moment, it would either be the cheapest or the most expensive. Yeah, I'd be on either end of that. Munoz, I just think as well, ultimately, guys, is just an absolutely really enjoyable player to own in FPL.
Agreed.
At a period where, game's boring, defcons, rare. Put Munoz in your team. And you know what? He is one of the rare players in this game that I would not particularly want to bench even for a fixture like Arsenal away. If people own him and want to play him this week, I don't have a problem with that. Because he gets in. It's just if Palace get a big chance down the right-hand side, it could be him.
Yep. Well, look, we talked about Mateta's 7.8 XG. Like Ismail Assar at 3.2, and he's only played 5 games. Is it 6 games? He missed 2 games. Sorry.
So
he's also decent, right?
Here's
you could triple up. If you could easily go Munoz, Mateta, and Sarr.
Someone out there listening to this will own Munoz, Sarr, Mateta. Must do. Someone must.
All right. Who are you? Tweet us.
No, it won't be many, but someone out there must.
Yeah,
and they've probably done well
people.
This week. But what do you do with them 3 this week?
I'd play them.
Just play them all at Arsenal.
Obviously, it all depends. That's a difficult question to answer. I don't know what else is in your squad.
Yes.
But I'd play them. But if you've got like a Burnley, if you've got an Esteve or something, would you pay Esteve, Wolves, over Munoz? No. You'd probably play him over at Richards.
Bear in mind here as well, you've probably got some Arsenal defence as part of this as well. Yeah. Probably.
Yeah. I mean, I'd play him.
I'll tell you what, if you didn't, I would definitely just play them in most scenarios. They will give Arsenal a proper football match on Sunday. I'm fairly certain of that. A tier 1 takeaway I did have on them, and I think this is good and bad news for FPL. Glasner's comments after the game suggested that they'll continue to take medical advice in terms of rotating players, but he didn't feel that it was going to be necessary to rotate them much. Now, there might be the slant on that he's going to go, right, having won the first game against Kiev, we're going to rotate a bit more in the Conference League. However, I do think it will catch up with them eventually in the Premier League. I look at them at the weekend only using 1 substitute, and it sends alarm bells to me. So they brought Nketiah on for Pino, was the one who went off at the weekend. That's the only substitute they've used in a game that was quite chaotic. Yep. I think the problem you've got there is the first 11, we know it. It's so obvious. He knows that whatever he changes there is in effect making the team weaker. The best way round that on occasion is going to be starting. I'm going to start Hughes in this one, or I'm going to give Richards a break, or I'm going to play Sosa at left wing back. Just, it doesn't have to be madness, but just now and again, making 1 or 2 changes so that when you have to make substitutions in the game, you're not always making the team weaker, because that is a problem for them. And it's only last week that they've obviously made a couple of late sloppy mistakes away to Everton and conceded some late goals. And actually, ultimately, Bournemouth scored in the 89th minute and nearly nicked this. That said, Mateta, obviously, with a big missed chance at the end, is wild. I do want to add on to it, though, that I don't know if it would have counted.
Oh, what?
I think there's every chance that it would have been a foul given.
Okay.
When the ball drops, I can't remember if it was Mateta or Nketiah challenge for the ball. I think they might have reviewed that and give that as a foul. And by the way, I want to shout out for Jared Gillett. I know a lot of people will disagree with this, but obviously Sense of the Monitor didn't change his mind.
Yeah.
On the Senesi challenge, I think it's yellow, and a lot of people think that's a Stonewall of red. I don't think there is nowhere near enough in that to definitively go, that is 100% denial of a goal-scoring opportunity. Look at where the ball is going and look at Diakite's positioning. For me, that's not 100%, so well done.
Okay, cool. Let's talk about Man City 2, Everton 0, James. I don't really understand SofaScore because they've given Everton an XG of 0.81 in the game, but they gave Beto's chance at the beginning, 0.84. So I don't understand your maths here.
No, that's not a 0.84. It's probably an accumulation of his data, mate, rather than just one chance.
Yeah, one chance.
You're telling me
14 minutes into the game, XG 0.84.
Is that his only shot in the game?
That's his only shot in the game. Then Alcaraz. Then the others are all 0.0 somethings. Garner had 1.18.
Okay, it's not a 0.84 anyway. He's really unlucky on that chance. His movement is actually really good.
He didn't gamble enough, does he? You kind of think...
No,
should gamble
harsh. Watch it back. There's a side-on angle, and his movement's really good.
Yeah, I don't doubt that. I just thought...
He has to check his run, so he can't be at 100% pace. He's actually quite unlucky. And Everton had their moments. I think Ndiaye...
not a huge amount, though, really.
No, but...
Not enough to justify getting anything out of the game.
I think the result's probably right. And Ndiaye had some good moments. Let's remember they were missing Jack Grealish as well at the weekend. Intrigued to see if there might be any change now with Michael Keane and Jared Bradford. Bradford back on the bench? I'm not sure. I know he's kind of very nearly available now, isn't he?
He was not, James.
Okay. It could be one that it changes now, possibly. No threat to Tarkowski here, by the way.
No, it'd be Keane.
And there's a familiarity with Everton's team now that we can kind of know, Grealish will be back in against Tottenham at the weekend. Alcaraz will drop out the team. We know what it is. Not chasing Everton assets at the moment, though. There's another DEFCON in there for Tarkowski and James Garner at the weekend. They'll tick over absolutely fine. It's all about the big man again, isn't it? I mean, talking of movement, his movement on the first goal, it reminded me of... in his first season, we looked at all his goals. I did a piece talking tactics. We looked at his goals at the start and how he was putting fear into people.
Yeah.
More as much as anything else.
Yeah.
Like, people are so scared of him being in and beyond. And they all, I think, very understandably, Evan, once they've dropped in and he knows it and
back.
He's pulled off.
Got like he had so much space for the ball to be played into to have that shot.
The problem with that is, if you're, say, Michael Keane was kind of in duel with him a lot, if you realise at that point you've gone in and he's pulled off,
you're not going to catch him.
No, but if you then make the dart out again and then he comes on towards it, you've got no chance. Yeah. So at least it's a psychological, you're like, well, I'm behind the ball, I might block it, which is nearly what happens, obviously, on the second goal. I just think he looks, his link play is, for me, is looking so much better than what it's looked in some of the previous seasons. He looks fit. He looks like he's enjoying himself. They are clearly playing towards him. I certainly take note of Guardiola's comments after the game, because I think he's right. Like, this can't continue with him just scoring pretty much all of their goals. Because clearly,
maybe they should sign a Stev.
Well, if he has a bad day, you're concerned for who will contribute around at the moment.
Yeah, we'll talk about the supporting cast in a minute.
Those Savinho's, Doku's, who else can play out wide?
Foden. Oh, you want wingers? Oscar Bob,
thank you. None of them contributing enough. What I would say is Phil Foden's 2 passes for the assist in the game is good. It sounds like he played really well at the weekend. So the team is settled. We know what City's team looks like now, i.e. the ideal scenario here is it's Foden, Reinders. Ideally, it would be Rodri, obviously, rather than Gonzalez. You got the 2 wide spots, 2 from 3. And then, obviously, the defensive players. Vardiel didn't play. So Nathan Ake played. Where did that come from? Okay, great. O'Reilly's obviously going to get competition from Aït-Nouri soon. John Stones could obviously play at right back. Donnarumma's up to 5.7 now. That just feels like too much.
Yeah.
So it's all avoidable. And even in the likes of sort of like Foden and Reinders, you've now got Cherki Marmoush potentially putting pressure on that. Marmoush can obviously play wide, is going to be an impact for the wide players as well. You just couple it all in and go, fixtures getting tougher. I've got no interest in anything Manchester City here that's not Erling Haaland. And yet, we'll hit game week 13 and people like me and you will want to go 3, Suj.
I'm going to go 3
when we get to them. We need injuries. Sorry, I'm not wishing it on anyone. I'm just telling you.
So, a couple of things on City. With the next 4, so it's Villa away, Bournemouth at home, Liverpool at home, Newcastle away. 4 difficult fixtures, 4 good teams there. But I think Haaland's still going to get the armband, isn't he? He'll definitely get the armband for Villa away this week. Bournemouth is a home fixture.
Just conceded 3 and look at Mateta's XG.
Is there any?
You'd only have to look at Mateta's XG and go, no, I'm not taking it on.
All right, game week 11, Liverpool at home.
All day, mate. At the moment.
Yeah, true. And then you've got Newcastle away.
So it's only 12.
And by then, there might be alternatives on the table. I'm not sure who Arsenal play in 12. Do you know off the top of your head?
Yeah, Arsenal or Tottenham at home, so it's probably Saka.
Saka or Perez, whoever. Yeah, fine. So he's still getting the armband 3 of the next 4, despite them being difficult fixtures. And then when we get into the run after that, I mean, I don't see captaining anyone else, assuming he's fit and still involved.
Like there's things like 14, he goes to Fulham, and obviously Liverpool home to Sunderland that night. But then it does kind of flip between City and Liverpool.
Who still owns both assets? That's the $1 million question at that point.
But by that point, it might not even be Salah. It might be Isak, Ekiteke. Who knows under a certain circumstance?
Yeah, it might be none of the above based on what we saw yesterday potentially as well. We'll talk about Liverpool. But yeah, interesting to think right now that Haaland is fixture proof. I mean, he's always been fixture proof, but he's fixture proof with the captaincy as well. Tijani Reinders, go on.
No, I was just going to say if it was on wildcard now, and it probably answers it, it would only be Haaland.
Yeah.
I think there is a case for something defensively, but it's a struggle, I think, to get it right. I don't think like Diaz or Donnarumma are quite worth that value. That's not to say if anyone's on, they should move.
There's too much good value elsewhere. Like, I'd still rather go Munoz. I'd still rather double up on Arsenal.
O'Reilly would be the one but the Ait Nori threat is coming back.
Yeah.
So... like, it's ugly. I think for Rangers owners, yes, there's a case to be looking to move on now, subject to where you want to go. For some people, it might be a case of going, right, I'm just going to drop that to Josh King and move the money somewhere else, for example. But, yeah, all those who watched Serie A after game week 1 could have known he was going to be amazing. I'm waiting to hear back from them people.
Yeah, I think...
I don't think he's a must-sell. You own him, don't you?
Yeah, I'm not... I'd rather get rid of... I mean, Matt Sells for me is a bigger problem. I see more upside in moving on Porro potentially to Timber than I do Reinders to Ndai or like a sideways move like that. Reinders to Sarr or something. It's not a big problem. If I can find a way of hiding it until game week 13, I'd rather do that.
Yeah, and that's fine.
But if I can find a good move to move up from...
The idea of buying this is gone now, though, definitely.
Yeah, no way.
And I certainly know as well, from questions on Ask James and my deadline stream last week, lots of people were looking to sell him. And I think same with Foden, I think we should wait this one. Now the door's open, I think, to sell. But I think they'll probably do well at Villa this week, actually. The problem with Reinders particularly is, if you look at someone like Xhaka as a comparison, so he's hitting 4 points basically every game. He's going to chip in with the odd assist and the odd extra point from a clean sheet, and therefore chip in with the odd bonus. So Xhaka, if you look at Xhaka across a 3-week period at the moment, you're expecting him to hit 12 points. So for Reinders to match that at more expensive, he's probably got to be that in terms of at least an attacking return, at least every 1 in 3, and it's probably a goal, isn't it? That's the problem. That's not to say there's not enough in that, I think, for you to go, oh shit, I should sell Reinders for Xhaka. No, I wouldn't. But if I was sitting there with it now, with the fixtures that are coming, despite the fact individually, I think the Villa, Bournemouth, Liverpool fixtures are all okay. Yeah, there's enough of an excuse to say, yeah, you'd move that on now.
Sunderland 2, Wolves 0. A lot obviously gambled on Sunderland defensive as well with Mukiele or what have you. He's not likely to haul a 17-pointer again, but Dan Ballard did earlier in the season, and it looks
and Alderete did at Forest.
Yeah, so
all 3 of them had a 17-pointer.
Having a Sunderland defender as 5th defender hiding it there doesn't seem to be such a bad thing to have right now. Wolves had a lot of chances, but didn't rack up a lot of XG here. I mean, they had a lot of shots. Let's say I think 16 in the end. In the words of Bradley Parker, our Wolves correspondent, just sack him now. We're going down anyway. Just get it done. He's not happy with Pereira, is he?
Bradley's on COTC tomorrow. So
is he?
I'm speaking with Bradley and Jack tonight. That'll be out tomorrow.
That'll be another fan view coming
Wolves,
up in
Burnley,
a couple of weeks.
Ed and Chris for Leeds, West Ham on Wednesday.
Yeah.
So for those who didn't activate the bench boost this week, probably wish that they had, by the way. There's something for you in terms of enablers going into this game week. I'm intrigued to see what Bradley will say, and I was thinking about this morning on the way in about them specifically, because we've been here before, right? It's 2 seasons in a row. They haven't won in their opening 8 games. There's a couple of key differences. One is the fixtures that they had at the start of last season were a genuine shocker. That's not really been the case this time.
No.
Also, last year, Larson started really well. He's obviously still not 100% fit, but obviously had a brilliant X-factor player in Cunha. And you really worry where the goals are coming from in that team if Larson doesn't start sorting it out. But also he's not getting a lot of provision at the moment. And I think a lot of that is coming from the struggle in the wide areas. It's interesting, me and Bradley discussed on Correspondent Week in pre-season, the idea that actually the loss of the wing-backs might be worse than losing Cunha. So it's not to say Cunha's not a brilliant player and wouldn't be a big miss, but obviously Larson had good returns without Cunha last season. Aït-Nouri and Semedo has not been replaced adequately, and that's a real problem. You have bad fullbacks, it's a real problem. Liverpool fans might be questioning what's going on with their fullbacks this morning. If your fullbacks are not playing well, it's a big problem. And I think Wolves are finding that at the moment. There's indecisiveness. So Chachua had been playing. Doherty's come back in. Hover comes on for them. Like, it's all bad. Moller Wolf joined. Barely seen him for last number of weeks. Hugo Bueno wasn't favoured. He's been back in the team recently. It's not great. They obviously had success at Tottenham where they changed from a back four to a back three at half-time. They've kind of largely gone with the back four since. You could say they were unlucky not to beat Brighton last week, but I look at them now with real worry about how they're winning football matches. And if they don't win this one this weekend against Burnley, that's a real problem, because then it gets tougher for them as well. Don't see goals in them. Don't see them keeping clean sheets. So if you look at others down there at the moment, I think you would have more reliability in Burnley, Leeds and Sunderland than Wolves defensively.
Yeah. Definitely Sunderland, definitely Burnley, yeah.
There is a debate about those offensively versus Wolves.
Whether to captain them.
No, in terms of like just the team generally, in terms of the goal scoring capability.
Okay. Would you pick like the Wolves player over?
Larson, for example, would get in all the other three teams. So like if they can sort that out in terms of the service of him, but it's not significantly better. It
was 50, 60 million pound Newcastle wanted to pick him up for not so long ago.
If you're not, what I'm saying is if they're not scoring, you don't fancy them defensively, you got a recipe for disaster.
It's because
the others have shown, particularly in the 3 games, in their home games so far, particularly, that they're going to pick up points. I saw a stat this morning, forgive me, I can't remember who posted it. I do actually, it was Neil from Scout, that the promoted clubs have kept 8 clean sheets now this season. So it's 1 a week on average. You know how many of the 3 promoted clubs kept last season between them? All season.
Well, 8.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so the 3 promoted clubs this year have already matched the clean sheet total of the promoted 3 last year.
Wow, that's crazy.
So Wolves players, no consideration, and I'm fairly certain Bradley's not going to say, take your 1 week punt on Larson this week, because actually you wouldn't. You'd probably go like Krupi Jr. or something else, actually. Yeah. Anything Wolves you've got. I mean, if you've got this week, if you're sitting there for whatever reason with a Wolves player, you may well be playing it this week, but it's certainly a bin afterwards. For Sunderland, this is really good. 14 points, so just under the 2 points per game mark.
Champions League form.
It is. I give the small caveat that the 4 home fixtures they've had have been very, very kind, but they've still dealt with them on 1-3 and drawn 1, I think. Mm-hmm. And that's a great return from the game, particularly obviously even referencing that the Villa game, we're obviously down to 10 men for more than a half for that as well. They look strong defensively. I think they're up for the physical battle and duel. I think it's now apparent that anybody playing them is going to have a physical battle. The players that they've brought in all have, I think, physical qualities defensively, and I include the likes of Xhaka within that. Like Xhaka physically can really look after himself. Clearly, Alderete, Michele can. Ballard is an absolute animal. So they've played Michele right back and Hume at left back in this one. And I do also have an inkling, a lot of our Sunderland patrons have said this, that it could be that now that the tougher run of games are starting, they'd warned this kind of because he changed during the United game, that we might actually see a back 3/back 5 going forward. But I think the fixtures are tough enough, other than maybe things like Leeds at home around Christmas, you are ultimately going to end up benching the likes of Alderete and Michele in most weeks. Ballard, there's a case to say that if you knew he was going to play every week, he's worth paying extra. I had a look at his heat map at half time, and he had as much in Wolves' penalty area as he did like in his own area. He's just a huge threat from set plays. Yeah, you're looking at it now. I mean, that's the whole game. But yeah, Ballard's attacking heat map, if you just looked at the attacking half, it looks more like a number 9 than, a crazy number 9. So he's getting himself in big positions. I wouldn't, by the way, pick him over Michele or Alderete. Michele is probably the one to go for now because it just by virtue of it being cheaper than Alderete. But reality is, if you are...
This time next week, he might not be, you know.
Ultimately, are you going to pick one of these Sunderland players away to Chelsea?
Not this week, no.
No, and most of the games coming up are like that now.
Yeah. But having as a fifth defender, no problem at all.
Absolutely fine. And I think, as said, Xhaka is ticking over absolutely brilliant. I wouldn't be investing in any of the attacking players. Don't think there's too much ownership for them anywhere.
Let's talk about Fulham 0, Arsenal 1. Talking about Arsenal victories, I know is...
Well, it's just expectant now. I said to my dad even before the kickoff yesterday, I've just completely resigned myself. I'll happily say publicly now what I said to Clayton on Tottenham a couple of weeks ago, that I don't just think they'll win it. I think they'll win it by about 10 points.
The first time, I thought Fulham started quite brightly. Like they did try and take the game to Arsenal.
Yes.
And I thought they played all right. Iwobi was putting in a few good crosses, a bit nice link-up play, but never...
We never had a shot on target.
Never, like, you still think, okay, well, they'll get there, but then Gabriel and Sleep are just going to clean this up. They could defend that all day long if you wanted to. Just defenders that like to defend. You know, they take such a pride in, like, we're going to defend this. And at the other end, it's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time. I don't think it was vintage Arsenal by any stretch.
Well, some would say that it is 1-0 with a goal from a corner.
1-0 to the Arsenal, of course. But... they've got the job done. They've come away from Craven Cottage with a clean sheet, 3 points. No one's going to remember this when they lift the trophy at the end of the season. Job done.
You might do, because they might win enough games in this style. So it's not the first time this season that Manchester United opening day, Calafiori, and they didn't play well that day. And they were far from their best at the weekend, by the way. But this is why they're going to be so strong. They can still win games like this without being their best. I don't think any Arsenal fans are going to go, that was the best version of Arsenal at the weekend. Like, it wasn't. There were problems, I think, in the makeup. For example, I mentioned near the top about Eze. So he's very much kind of playing a similar position at the moment to Odegaard in that right 10. For me, that needs switching. It really does need switching. He needs to operate in the left half space. And I think Arsenal can still do that by just moving Rice to the right-hand side of Zubimendi, because I think Rice is adaptable. The problem for Eze is just not creating the right angles for him. So when he's inside, he's either kind of really tempted in that area to just go to Saka, because you look up and say, well, he's brilliant on my outside, so you go to him. Or if he's stepping back inside, the angles aren't right for him because he's on his left. You want him kind of starting high and wide, almost like a left half space, and being able to go either way from there. Because he obviously can beat someone, like taking him on the outside or whatever. But the angles are all wrong for him. And that, by the way, if they make that little tweak, I wouldn't be surprised if he has a good, like, real spell while Odegaard's absent. But if they're not going to change that, then I've no interest in buying Eze. Agreed. But if those who have invested have gone there, I wouldn't run away from it, because I think most of us can see that as a issue at the weekend, so it might get tweaked and it might change to that. And as I said, I think if it did, he'd do really well. And I think Rice can be adaptable, and it's not a problem. You might even find in some of the fixtures coming up, like Sunderland and Burnley away, that they even put Wanyeri with Eze and just go with one of Rice or Zubimendi. They might feel they can get away with that. But I tell you what dawned on me, and I was thinking about this particularly about the back four and the goalkeeper. So for me, it's the old FPL general comment, deal with your biggest problem. I look at my team and I feel like it's Porro, actually, in terms of the starting 11 I've got this week. Now, with Tottenham playing away and Arsenal playing at home, despite all the positives we say about Palace, that transfer now feels more comfortable to me than it did before the weekend. But I'm really not sure who to buy between Saliba, Calafiori and Timber.
For me, it's very standout, Timber.
Yeah? Why?
Because of the attacking positions he takes up, the link up he's building up with Saka.
If you're going to go attacking position, bloody hell, Calafiori, mate.
Yeah, I think Timber's got better output. I know this season they've both had returns. They're both doing well. I get it. What's the price difference? Let's have a look.
Calafiori's cheaper. I think Timber's 5.9, Calafiori 5.7, Saliba's probably 6.
Still 6.
I'm gonna say.
Pick one.
Well, yeah,
I get it. Just pick one. I'd go Timber. Maybe it's just the gut feel. Maybe it's just the personal preference. Calafiori was in and out before. Lewis Skelly. I think Lewis Skelly is more of a threat to Calafiori than Ben White is to Timber.
So I was thinking this on Saturday night, and even more so actually after the Liverpool game last night. Like, if Arsenal were to win the league as comfortably as I think they will, it made me think that actually they won't rotate as much as I think they will in the Premier League. Because it obviously gives them if you imagine they can get the title wrapped up by March. I don't mean like officially, but like we were with Liverpool last year, we went, it's over.
Yep.
Liverpool obviously went out the Champions League. But I wonder if Liverpool would have been as sloppy towards the end of last season if they'd still been in the Champions League, maybe in the Premier League. But obviously if you can get it one early, and then you're always picking your strongest team in the Champions League towards the end of the season, I wonder if that's actually a goal and an aim. And I feel that with Arsenal at the moment, that with them, you feel like the focus is so laser focused to win every single football match at the moment that it might even be in the back of their minds to think, get ahead, get ahead, get ahead. It will give them a better chance in the Champions League when it matters at the end. Because whatever they did in the Champions League between now and then, not going to go out, are they? And I'm not suggesting that they go, oh, we're going to change the whole back four against Atletico. But actually, it made me think more that looking at this sort of week, for example, that if they were to rotate for, say, the Atletico game or the Palace game, it's more likely to be the Atletico game. That's the conclusion I've come to.
But let's be real. What's their backup back five? So you put Neto in goal.
It'd probably still
Ben
finish
White,
top 5, yeah.
Lewis Skelly,
It's not
Mosquera.
Kepa.
Oh, Kepa, sorry.
Yeah. Which is an upgrade.
Kepa, Ben White, Lewis Skelly, Mosquera, and then play one of Gabriel Sleep.
No, Hincapi.
Oh, Hincapi, yeah. Forgot about him. Forget about him. Yeah, there you go. That back four could see out the end of the Premier League season.
That niggles away at me, particularly with Calafiori. I think, it could be any game that is Hincapi and or Lewis Skelly instead.
Has he had any Premier League minutes yet, Hincapi? I don't think he has he?
Not sure. He's definitely played for them, but I don't know if he's appeared in the Premier League. But I think certainly a game like Burnley away, they could come in. But I tell you what, I bet you Sunderland away, I bet they all play. Won't want to, because of their threat.
Yeah,
he won't want to piss about with that.
Get the job done.
He won't want to piss about with the Palace game. So the Burnley game maybe, but the spacing around it's okay. And then again, Tottenham at home, he's going to pick his strongest team, isn't he? So actually, for the period that I'm looking short term, I'm probably all right, bar maybe the Burnley game. So then it probably comes down to, what do I fancy most here offensively? And then I think then it is Timber or Calafiori over Saliba. Which one?
Flip a coin.
Because the eye tells me Calafiori, you know.
Yeah. My gut.
But I also know Timber could get the odd, very unlikely, but the odd bit of DEFCON. And actually, his link with Saka can just lead to something as well.
Yeah. It's difficult. What about Fulham? Joachim Anderson out now, we don't know.
What about Gyökeres? You're holding on, are you?
Listen, anyone who's thinking selling him because they're frustrated with Sunderland, Burnley to follow after Palace, which is a home game at the Emirates, go for it and sell him. The less people that own him, the better for me. I've got no interest in, like you talked about, fix your biggest problems first. Porro being your biggest problem. Gyökeres is not my biggest problem right now when he's got a home fixture against a side that have conceded 5, followed by Sunderland, followed by Burnley. Yeah, he is by far not my biggest problem. So
you've got no temptation to flip him as part of putting Saka in?
Zero right now. Zero. It's not my biggest problem. And what am I flipping? Who am I selling for Saka? Bruno Fernandes, right? Just a reminder, even though Saka's flavour of the month because he picked up returns without picking up any returns, Bruno outscored him this weekend.
That was so a bit of anger.
Bruno's outscored him this weekend. So I'm just saying, like, I don't think that it feels very...
I feel like, boss, I feel like Saka's 7-pointer has really hurt you.
No, I'm just saying it's not worth the move for me, I think. Selling Bruno to Saka, I don't think there's enough upside over the next few weeks. Whereas I think I'd rather find other ways to see some upside. Like I've got to Arsenal. do I want to flip in and get Saka or just buy timber for Porro and be done with it?
I don't think I want to sell Fernandes this week for Saka. I don't particularly want to sell Fernandes anyway. It's never been a case of that. It's more I want something else. This is the old Sky debate, and want versus needs. I want Saka in my team, but do I need it over Bruno Fernandes specifically? And it's my only real way of doing it. Unless I take out Van Dijk for a real cheapie, but I've got defensive problems. He's counterproductive, and then it's not an Arsenal defender that I'm buying as part of that. So yeah, I agree with you actually. For those on Gyökeres, I'd stick it out.
It's not like he played badly. I also think it's not like he's anonymous. He had a few shots and stuff. He's still the out and out number 9. Yeah, at least he had
efforts in this one.
Yeah, I think
Fulham away. He's never. We've said this all the time. It's never a fixture that screams at you that's going to be good.
I also think the longer it goes that he doesn't score, when they get a penalty, they'll give it to him. It's like
I think he'll take the next one. Yeah.
Yeah, when Saka gave it to Havertz when he hadn't scored for a little while or whatever, right? I think I was almost like, well, if he hasn't scored in this one, now that they're going to be 7 games and he hasn't scored or whatever it might be, well, Saka's going to give him the next one because he's going to want to build his confidence. So that again leads into me sticking and keeping with Gyökeres. I personally don't see the logic in moving him on, if I'm honest with you.
Declan Rice is also a potential solution for me this week.
I like Declan Rice more than I like Enzo Fernandez.
The reason as well with Declan Rice, I'm a little concerned about this flip of the Eze thing as well. And I think he largely played a deeper role at the weekend. Clates keeps saying this, it flip-flops a little bit in terms of him going deeper alongside with Zubimendi. And I think it's in circumstances where they're concerned about ball carriers of the opponent. So say they played someone like Villa and they're worried about Rodgers as an example, then you can expect Rice to sit in a bit deeper. But I look at the games coming up, and I think when you think of Palace's central midfield players, what we've discussed really heavily after they won at Villa, like that's not an issue in that zone. And it's not an issue, I think, in the Burnley Sunderland games. It's not an issue in the Tottenham game either. That I think you get Rice over the next 4 or so in a more advanced position. And he does feel like he could just pop off at any time. Mm. You know he'll score and it could be like 11-point plus or so, isn't it? So he might be a little solution for me. Because if I went something like, say, Gakpo to Rice, then rather than going Porro to one of these Arsenal players in the immediate, I could get it up from Konsa and sit Porro there as a bit more cover for a week, and then Porro to Munoz the following week. So something like that does appeal possibly. Then obviously, if I make that call on Rice, I've cut myself off of both Eze and Saka, who I still think, if the Eze tweak happens, they'll do better over forthcoming weeks. Fulham, there's suddenly concern, boss.
Joachim Anderson's out now, right?
Yeah. And that's the concern is that from a position where pretty much when the season started, I think they pretty much had the best record in the league in terms of absences. That's now really creeping up with, you've had Munez, even ones in the background like Chukwueze, Kenny Tete's been out, Anderson, it's a wait and see.
Left back Robinson.
Andy Robinson's had, well, Ryan Sessegnon, in fairness, has done pretty well this season.
Yeah, still an injury.
Anderson out would be a real problem. That's your leader at the back. It would also obviously be a problem for those who are on him regularly because he has been a bit of a DEFCON monster. And I think it was probably him or Richards if you wanted a 4.5 moving forward. Wait and see what's obviously said. I would suggest the fact that he's gone off in the first half, I would probably read that as not good news. So wait and see. Probably most of you weren't going to play him away to Newcastle this week. So it might be a case, say if you think, Richards is my solution as an example, you might want to just hide it for this week, give yourself a bit more time, extra free transfer in the bank, and come back to it the week after. Good news for them that Jimenez was fit. I actually think you're right, Suj. I think they played all right, but ultimately never
end product was just
kind of that.
It's hard against
no,
this team.
It really is, because Arsenal go, once you get into their final third, they go so narrow so quickly and invite you almost to like go on the outside. But so often the wingers come all the way back, like Saka, Trossard. They do all their work defensively. Then if you do manage to get it in the box, you've got to beat all these bloody giants that are in the box. Like they're very and the goalkeeper's really good at claiming as well. They're very comfortable with what they are. Just concerned for Fulham that these injuries are creeping up on them a little bit. I still think Josh King He's a great asset. Yes, it's going to be restricted minutes every week in the sense he looks like he's first player being subbed off. But I think we've now had 8 starts. I don't think there's any reason now to not think that he will continue playing in that position as first choice. Doesn't mean he won't be rotated until we get into January. And therefore, for me, as a 4.5, if it's a player that's going to sit on your bench regularly every week, I don't actually think any of the Xhakas or Luis Florentinos are worth having over him, because there will be a game at some point where he pops off.
Yep. Let's move to the Sunday games, James, because we must. Spurs 1, Aston Villa 2. After I watched the first kind of 10, 15 minutes of this,
and fell asleep,
I thought, you guys are like, it started like a house on fire, like really going for it. When Kudus had the goal disallowed, I was like, all right, it's disallowed, he's offside. But Spurs have decided, like, we're going to win this, I'm going to win it early, and then we're going to see the game out. But that was it after 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And then it didn't feel like that at all. I was really surprised how that tone changed after initially. Once Villa started to get back into it, it didn't feel like you had the same intensity that you did in the start of the game.
No, I think from the pressing perspective, yes, I think you're right.
I really thought, okay, you thought Villa are here to be had. Let's get it done quick and early, and then it just stopped.
Yeah, I don't take away Villa's right to win. They scored 2 stunning goals. Little question mark on Vic maybe on the first goal, but it really does kind of dip. It looks like it's possibly going over when it's first hit. The second goal is a staggering contribution from Cash, particularly Luca Dean, and then Buendia's finished. So they've scored 2 stunning goals. Good luck to them. But yeah, you're right. Also, if a team's played well against my team, I'll sit and I'll tell you, like Bournemouth battered us, right, in game week 3.
It wasn't great. It wasn't a great game.
I think both teams defended quite well. If you want to take positives
out
of
it
for both.
Romero in the warm-up, it's not ideal. Losing any player in a warm-up is never ideal.
But I also think part of that is actually down to offensive issues from the other 2 teams. Villa aren't... it's hidden now because they've won at Tottenham. So the results at the start, is it 5 wins in a row or so? Like, it's good. They are, in my opinion, not as strong as they were this time last year. There's little bits of X factor that's missing from that, and it really feels like there's a big onus on Rodgers to do particularly well. Now, he scored a great goal yesterday, but I actually think his impact on the game was relatively quiet. Watkins obviously didn't start. He's not had a great season so far, I think it's fair to say. I don't doubt him in terms of he'll score plenty of goals for them. I don't think they have great 1v1 threats. Gesson has good pace, but I'm yet to see anything from him to make me think that he's worthy of a start. We're still no closer really to getting Harvey Elliott or Jadon Sancho in the team. Maybe there's an element of trust at the moment in terms of Unai Emery getting those players in within the system that he obviously wants to play within. I think defensively they're okay, but not from a go and chase for fantasy perspective. So they'll be fine moving forward, Villa, but I don't see them as the most likely team to finish 5th or push for top 4. Whereas this time last year, I just think, great side. Not with the intensity now that what they've had previously. And it could be they're going through a phase of a lack of confidence. But yeah, I think that's what made yesterday particularly disappointing, because I think Villa were there for the taking, actually. There are narratives to it. As said, Villa scored 2 brilliant long-range goals. I don't think Villa had a shot in the box. I don't think in the game, or certainly not one on target. Those were Villa's only 2 shots on target. So we've defended quite well. And if the chance that falls to Odebear isn't struck straight at Ezri Konsa, we go 2-1 up and we probably win the game from there. So I don't think Thomas Frank was wrong in saying that the game could have gone either way. That said, there are alarming concerns with how Tottenham play offensively, and I keep saying this every week. Look at that team and just think, who has got that? That almost like asking Rodgers and Watkins for the X factor. Tottenham don't have those players. It's Kudus. It's reliability on Kudus to carry the team forward. But ultimately, he doesn't look like he's going to score very often either. Odebear doesn't on the left. Tell is still a pup up front. I'm really surprised that Richarlison didn't play. I think the thinking behind that was, well, Tell can't play on Wednesday. So Mwani's not going to be fit enough to start yet. So if he started Richarlison and he broke down, then he was going to be forced into having to start Mwani in Monaco because Tell's obviously ineligible in the Champions League. Xavi Simons has clearly got really, really good ability, but he's got to find more risk in his game and he's got to do things quicker. All of these Tottenham assets are, in my opinion, a sell.
Binnable, yeah.
All of them. And that includes also defensive ones as well. Not that I think it's like you must sell Van der Ven, particularly Van der Ven because it's cheap.
He was 4-5 when most people got him, right?
And you'll probably be up in value. It's fine, but you don't want to be playing it every week. Romero, I mean, it didn't help us yesterday to lose Udogie and Romero as well. Romero obviously in the warm-up. Udogie gives us so much more down the left-hand flank. It was, there's no creativity in the team. Yeah, but Destiny Udogie will get up to the byline and create space on that left-hand side for others. Jed Spence just doesn't do it. Romero is obviously a big miss. So the knock-on impact of Romero pulling out in the warm-up yesterday was that Bentancur had to go between the two centre-backs because you can't be having Mickey van der Ven and Danso playing into midfield because it's not good enough. So Bentancur had to go deeper. As a consequence, it made all our progression worse. Not because of him, but because he's having to go deeper. Paulinho, brilliant ball winner, amazing. It's non-existent in terms of what you can actually do on a football. But I kind of think I've worked this out now a little bit more. So most Tottenham fans don't want Bentancur and Paulinho to play together, or at least not in games where we dominate the ball. So I don't mind, for example, some of the games coming up they play together. I'd probably want them both to play Monaco and Everton away. Because Everton will have quite a bit of the ball now with the likes of Grealish and Dyer. Don't mind if they both play together. In games like this, where I don't think Villa press particularly aggressively, and that's where teams have been having success against us. No. We've got too much time on the ball. Get something else, whether it's Bergvall or whether Papsar can carry better. Get one of them in the team. But I know now why I think he's so keen for them to play together. It's the complete opposite of Ange. So Ange used to want all his teams to play through central zones to then maybe try and isolate wide players in 1v1s. So we've gone from a team that only wants to play through central zones, fullbacks into 10 positions and all this stuff, to now it's the complete opposite. We don't use zone 14 at all. Zone 14 being the area kind of on the edge of the box. We just go wide. We just get the ball and we just go wide, 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 wide. And I told you a couple of weeks ago, cross-spamming team. Now, when you're going in against the likes of Konsa, Torres, delivery's got to be great. If you think of Kudos and Porro, two decent deliverers, both very different technically, crossing from the right-hand side, and what you've got in the box is Tell, Simmons and Odobert, you got no chance.
Might captain Gabriel in game week 12?
I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, if your front four is Kudus, Tell, Xavi and Odobert against Arsenal.
But it probably won't be.
You don't keep a clean sheet.
No, because I think by the time we get there, I'm hoping that for that particular fixture, for example, it would be like Sarr at 10, Bentancur and Paulinho together, Mwani left, Solanke up front would be like...
James's dreams.
No, it's not in my dreams because obviously want particularly Xavi Simons part of that team. And he's definitely got the talent, but he's got to start doing things quicker and he's got to be braver. It was the time he came in perfect, ideal position for him, just coming in off the left half space, shoot for goal, mate. And he's giving it to Paulinho who shoots from goal. Like, let go, mate. He's got to be way more risk. He's got to be a bigger risk taker with the players he's got around him in that team. We're saying Luka Dean defended Mohamed Kudus as well as I've seen anyone actually do it this season. I mean, he did pretty well against him. So goal scoring a real problem. As we've discussed, particularly on the Patreon pods over the last couple of weeks, this variance in terms of the statistics to the results, one of two things inevitably happens. Either the performances improve or the results get worse. And actually, yesterday, in terms of defensively, there was a lot to like about it. But it's inevitable that you're not going to keep maintaining these results with average performances. The other thing, by the way, that I want to say about going wide, what that creates a lot, Suj, rather than pushing people into the advanced positions in terms of tens, is when Tottenham do lose the ball in the wide area, they're set structurally so much better with Paulinho and Bentancur sitting there that it becomes difficult to hurt. Like, as I said, Rodgers was quite quiet yesterday. The goal he scores is a brilliant goal, but actually it comes from, he tries to play a pass, Simmons blocks it, it comes back to him and he scores. Then it's a brilliant finish. So a lot of that with Tottenham going wide, I think is in part in terms of trying to keep us stronger in terms of off the ball. But he's got to show more. As a manager, he has got to show more about what we're doing on the ball, because it to be honest, it's bland and it's boring at the moment.
Does Ruben Amorim have to show more?
No.
Because he's managed to get a lovely victory
He's
at
won
Anfield.
back-to-back games. Give him a new contract.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think many have doubted that he has a strategy and a philosophy. It's just whether or not he can execute on it. Will he have enough time to get it to come good? Great win for Manchester United here. I mean, they've conceded quite a big XG against Liverpool, which is understandable at Anfield, but they've created 5 big chances of their own as well.
Is that understandable? I mean, Arsenal went there and it was like 0.5.
Okay,
so.
I'm not surprised that United conceded a big XG at Anfield, because they're just not as good defensively, but they've done well to get 3 points here, and 6-point assist for Bruno Fernandes.
Great win for United, and United fans should absolutely be celebrating and have a great week and really enjoy themselves. And clearly, I think there were a lot of really good individual performances yesterday. The attacking guys, I think Cunha was really good, and Mbeumo really good. Bruno Fernandes absolutely brilliant in midfield. Diallo a real threat from the right-hand side. And what this United team has now versus last season is that real threat in the offensive areas, believing in the individuality of these players. Not that they can't do it cohesively, but they have individual quality within all of them. Mbeumo, Cunha, I think even Diallo, and obviously Fernandes, all in any given moment have the ability to win a football match. Like those guys get into most teams in this league. There's a really good choice of attacking players they've got, with variation of Mount's pressing, Sesko as a little bit more of a target, and Dalot can contribute from the left-hand side as well. So in terms of offensive bodies, looks much better for them. However, I don't know the answer to this, but I feel like I know the answer to this. I feel like United won the game yesterday more because of Liverpool than because of United.
Well, Liverpool haven't been good. Is it 5 defeats in a row or something like that for Liverpool?
4.
4 defeats in a row.
That's the first time. Obviously, that includes Champions League game against Galatasaray.
Yep.
That's the first time that's happened to Liverpool over 10 years.
Wow.
So for Liverpool, losing 4 games in a row is a crisis. And if you want to win the Premier League, I don't care who you are, if you lose 3 games in a row, that's a crisis. If you want to win the title, would Liverpool lose last year 4?
Yeah.
Lost 3, right? And you couldn't look at them at the moment. I'm watching them when they're chasing the game yesterday. And when Liverpool at their best, it's when, for me, everything's quick and they're playing through lines and they're getting it into the front players and they're carrying with the ball quickly. You feel like you're going to get overwhelmed. But I'm not watching them yesterday and thinking, I'm watching them like, this might work for you right now. But there's no way you can be consistent in this strategy like every week and expect to win games every week. That, from me, from Slot yesterday, was a bit over the top. Half hour ago, he's basically gone 4-2-4 and he's put Jones and Wirtz into the 2. I want to say I thought Curtis Jones and Florian Wirtz both played really well when they came on, by the way. But it was too over the top. The Salah missed chance, where he ends up almost shooting at it straight on and tucks it wide at the near post. The volume of players that get forward looks absolutely brilliant to the eye. I'm telling you that if United had cleared that cross, United probably would have scored. The overcommitment was over the top, very similar to Semenyo's second goal at Anfield in day 1. So we're getting structural issues with them all the way through. And I don't think Slot is helping himself at the moment. There is genuine case to say, really looking at the moment, that the likes of Mo Salah should not be in this team. I'm not saying as a permanent, but you need to send a message at the moment that it's not working. There's too much reliability on players, and I understand it because they've done so well for them, but it almost does feel like there's been a bit of a hierarchy. Like Alexis McAllister is a different example, has not been playing well this season. He probably wants taken out the team at the moment, or at least adjusting his position, because what I don't understand, even in the first half yesterday, before they went gung-ho, is I don't understand the positioning of trying to put McAllister and Szoboszlai in the top line of Liverpool's attack and try and play to them. You'd arguably want them 2 players doing the playing. So maybe then you're looking at going, well, we need Gravenberch there. Right, we'll sit them in deeper and get these fullbacks up higher. Get Frimpong in the team maybe at right back and get Salah off the wing and into the positions where he can be more dangerous and obviously score more goals and get. What you'd want ideally is almost like Salah, Wirtz and Isak or Ekitike operating in that top line with almost the fullbacks pushed up. So you could let the three midfield players, whatever the choices are, still run the game. I think there's a lot structurally that's just not right and not working well for them. And it looks so jittery defensively. The fullbacks, for me, are not playing well, whatever combinations they use. They look like they can be got at defensively and not providing enough offensively. It's too erratic. And the centre-backs seem to go from one good game to one bad game at the moment. And the criticism of, I don't understand Slot's criticism at full time about, United went long. If you actually look, Liverpool completed more long, accurate passes than United yesterday. I think they knew United were going to go long. But the idea, Sesko's taking out the team. Well, did they think United weren't still going to go direct? No, United's strategy, to be honest, a lot of the long ball was quite aimless. So you're looking at Cunha, Mount, Bumo, essentially, going up for aerials against Van Dijk and Kanate, and yet United kept going long. So you're like, so why do that? But they knew that's what was going to happen. They were on top of the second ball all the time. In that first opening half hour or so, Liverpool could not cope with United picking up second balls. So there's a lack of even energy in that midfield in the Liverpool team, and we never say that about Liverpool. Lack of energy.
Fixtures are still all right, though. Brentford away, you're going to keep for that. Villa is at Anfield.
But Brentford are going to give them some aerial problems.
City away
as well.
Difficult, I get that. But then it's Forest, West Ham, Sunderland, Leeds. Yeah,
but someone like Rodgers, I'd feel like he almost excels against Liverpool at the moment in that game in Game 10. At City, I just don't know how to deal with Haaland at the moment.
Yeah, he's going to be a nightmare in that game.
But they have shown, right? They were dealing with it. It's just, I don't know whether it's a mental, a physical. It's not right on and off the ball at the moment. And there's too many big players underperforming. And you've got others where it's half cooked at the moment. So the only way to get Isak into form, I get it, is to play him. But I don't think you could look yesterday and not think Ekitike should play over him at the moment. And I'm a huge fan of Alexander Isak. And I think he'll go on to have an exceptional season for Liverpool. But at the moment, you'd go, Ekitike's probably got to play over him. And Wirtz now, I think, on what I saw at the end of the game yesterday, and the fact he was able to, I think, carry Liverpool for quite a bit, just with Jones with him in that last half hour or so, right, you've now got to find a way of putting that in that team. So I think what Liverpool would probably be advised to do at the moment is actually go with two in midfield, and it might even be that it's like Jones and Gravenberch, although he probably got injured yesterday. So probably Jones and Szoboszlai, and stick Wirtz centrally in front of that and let him operate properly and get the two wide players closer to whoever's going to be the 9.
Cool. Right. That's a wrap on the game.
Is Salah a sell if you're still there? It's Brentford away.
Yeah.
Do you go like Salah to Saka this week?
Again, it depends how close you are to wildcarding or not, whether you want to free up the money for other stuff. But the value for money isn't there. Salah could still and probably will still do okay. But will he do okay for 14.5 million? Probably not. Like, you've always got to factor in that value. Would you rather own Saka or Salah, all things being equal? If they were the same price, would you rather own Salah or Saka? For the next 5 or 10 or something, whatever.
No, still
next 5.
Still Mo.
I'd still rather own Mo.
I wouldn't be paying 5 million more for Mo or whatever it is at the moment.
It's 4.5, yeah. Yeah, well, that's it. I'd rather get Saka in or what have you. So, yeah, for me, he'll do fine. But it's the amount of money that it ties up, that it takes away from other positions that I'm not willing to do. And I don't think people should right now.
Yeah, they're concerning at the moment, Liverpool.
If he hits some form, by the time we get to 13, which is West Ham, we can wildcard him back in if we really want to.
Well, I'm hoping it'll be Isak going in.
Yeah, so we've got other options before then. I like Gakpo still, and obviously he's scored again. So
Gakpo had such a weird game. So he had loads of big chances. His XG was half of Mateta's, which, by the way, would be like insane in most normal games. He's hit the woodwork 3 times. He nearly missed the goal he scored, by the way. He ends up coming off his heel. The headed chance that he misses at 2-1 as well, I mean, you would expect him to score. And yet, I don't think he played well.
He really does well at Anfield, doesn't he? His home
does.
record is particularly good.
He does. So I'm looking at this week and going, right, is this my opportunity maybe to sell? With him as well, what I said to you earlier, I think if he starts in Frankfurt, I've got to be thinking he doesn't start at Brentford, right, time to sell. But I would think any Liverpool player who, in terms of the attacking players who started yesterday, if they start on Wednesday, I'd be a little bit concerned about Saturday night. And by the way, that includes Mo.
Yeah.
I would not be shocked because something needs ripping up now. If Salah starts on Wednesday night, I would not be shocked if he doesn't start Saturday at Brentford. Now, he'll probably come on and score twice because it'll give him the ump and a little bit of motivation. You know how good he is. But I'd be conscious of that.
Cool. James, you're travelling this week, going to Monaco. Mm-hmm. Gamble your life savings on at the casino to get enough money so that Tottenham can buy another player.
I don't think I'd be winning enough, mate.
That's probably true. What's the schedule?
By the way, these players at Liverpool, all these attacking players that they can't seem to make work, like Liverpool, if you've got any spare, I'll have any of them.
Out alone.
I'll have Gakpo. You don't want Gakpo, I'll have Gakpo. You don't want Ekadzeke, I'll have any of them.
Cool. Tell people what they've got to look forward to for the rest of this week, and I'm going to pull up the questions that we've got on.
So as said, 2 COTCs this week. So there's Wolves Burnley tomorrow with Bradley and Jack, and then Leeds West Ham Wednesday with Ed and Chris. Ask James Thursday. I've scheduled now for 3:30 p.m. UK time on Thursday. It really might fluctuate because I'm essentially coming back from Monaco and doing it. Friday weekender with David. If you want to support the show, it's www.patreon.com/planetfpl. No ads from basic tier, access to Slack and my planner from basic plus, all the podcasts from intermediate plus, and all the additional advanced tier video content with myself advanced level as well. Zoom call for the advanced tier patrons at 5:30 p.m. UK time today. Podcast this week, our Q&A today. Myself and David doing UCL Fantasy tomorrow. Got a quiz with our Manchester United correspondent Alex Trembath on Wednesday. Tottenham on Thursday when I get back from Monaco. Gameweek 9 preview, the differential show on Friday. The advanced tier content includes Nico's Corner today. Team News stream Friday. You know I love a Friday deadline, boss. And away days, of course, from Monaco as well.
Cool. Look forward to all of that content. James did mention Patreon. We can join our Slack community, get his fixture planning spreadsheet, prize leagues, all sorts of other fun stuff. If you don't want to become a patron, that's perfectly cool. Why not subscribe to the show wherever you're listening, hit the notification bell on YouTube, and that will help as well.
It's not cool if you don't want to become a patron because you can support us for free. So you should all just sign up for free. And
on Patreon.
And then you at least get the best bits every Friday.
Yeah, true. There is value in signing up to Patreon as a free member. Questions, James? Should we do some?
Yes.
I'm going to skip through the ones that we've kind of covered off, or the ones that make no sense, like FPL Twiggy saying, Manchester United the best team in the world again. We won't answer. Jordan Williams got an interesting question. He's on Ekiteke and looking for a replacement. He's got Haaland and Mateta. Is it as simple as Bowen? Well, it would have been last week. I don't think it is this week.
Who's Ekiteke, did you say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Voltamare, maybe.
So it changes. Truthfully, strategy would be dependent here, but if it's still wildcard 13, honestly, I would go João Pedro. And I know most people, what? That's where I'd go.
FPL Coke, why? How comes all teams seem to have to lean into long throws at exactly the same time? Did all managers attend a summer course with it or something?
I love that. It's such a great question.
It's true though, isn't it? Is how suddenly set pieces are becoming such a big thing. But it's these long throws thing.
Long throw shit is doing my head. So yesterday at Tottenham, it's like it's injury time. Danso's taking long throws and he's there drying the ball and stuff. Mate, stop this absolute nonsense. I don't mind the long throw if the timing's right and stuff, particularly late in the game. I get it, but yeah, I've told you I'm not loving it. I'm not loving it at all. It's operating as a way for teams. I'm sure most people realise this by now. It's operating as a way for teams to waste time. You ever seen a player get booked for not being quick on a long throw into the box?
No, because you have to allow people to get into the box and settle and all of that kind of thing.
That's bollocks. No, bollocks. Honestly, yeah. You want to, I think got to get something in play on throw-ins. By the way, there's a lot of teams, there's a smaller issue. But Tottenham and Villa both had this issue yesterday. just on general throw-ins in play. Teams are really struggling with throw-ins, like in terms of short throws. So there might be a little bit of consequence in that, in terms of the long throws, i.e. acting like a set play as well. But I think the game probably needs to get to something law-wise on throw-ins, actually, because it's become the easiest way to waste time now is throw-ins. Okay. And those on the long throws, you know, it's someone's taking a long throw, but I've got time to go for a piss and come back. Subject to what stadium you're in.
Right, and last question of the show, James Mahomey. Do you think United will now win 5 games in a row so that fan, it's the United strand, isn't it, can get a haircut? I mean, his Barnet is fucking impressive right now.
So what is it? Brighton, Forest, Tottenham, isn't it?
Yeah.
If they beat Brighton,
I don't know.
yeah.
I think, have they got any cup games in between? No.
No, but they went out, didn't they, to Grimsby? They're not in Europe, so yeah.
No cup games.
Yeah, every chance. Brighton are such a difficult race.
Jekyll and Hyde.
Yeah.
Forest they could win.
That's the toughest game.
Tottenham as well. Where's the game against Tottenham?
Is it at our place?
Okay.
But it's I just think they've got too much individual stuff at the top end, actually. And I think they'll the way they are, I think they'll find us defending our cross spamming shit quite easy, actually. So if you said to me now, I'm obviously a bit down on Tottenham at the moment, but yeah, I would say United really should be looking at sort of 7 points or so over the next 3. When I went on Black Box and I said I think United finished 5th, I got laughed out of the place, but I think they finished top 5.
Mahomey, what kind of challenge would either one of you do? What would you do if Tottenham were on a shit run and you were like, I'm not going to do this till we win 5 games in a row? What would you do?
Not make that kind of silly bet in the first place.
What would you do? I don't know. What could I... maybe I'd give up eating meat. I'd go vegetarian until West Ham win 5 games in a row. It seems quite safe, doesn't it?
I'd give up my wife.
Yeah, that doesn't count. Nah, you got to do something. What would you do? Not shave your beard?
Sounds like a good idea.
Not shave your beard?
No, because if it goes too far... No, I wouldn't. I just wouldn't. I wouldn't do it.
Nico, what do you think James should do? This if Tottenham were on a bad run, you know that United fan who's growing his hair. What would James do as a good challenge for Tottenham to win 5 games?
Make Nico's corner public.
Wear the Arsenal shirt.
Stop this nonsense,
that's
man.
Nonsense. No. That's a perfect way to end this podcast. Listeners, thank you for tuning in. Make sure you're subscribed wherever you're listening to the show. Most importantly, stay safe. Look after yourselves. Cheer on the West Ham tonight. Stay safe. Ciao for now.
Thanks, everyone. Be nice to each other. Play it your way. Cue music, please, man child.